The whisper under the bed. When Anna moved into her grandmother's old farmhouse, she thought it would be peaceful. No city noise, no neighbors, just quiet fields and creaking wood floors. But on her first night, as the wind pressed against the window panes, she heard it. A whisper under the bed. First she thought it was a dream. The voice was soft, childlike. "Anna, are you awake?" She froze. Her breath hitched. No one had called her name in that tone since her brother died 10 years ago. The next morning she checked under the bed. Nothing. Just dust and shadows. She told herself it was grief, maybe exhaustion. But that night the whisper returned. Louder. "Anna, it's cold down here." She turned on the lamp. The bulb flickered once, then burst. Darkness swallowed the room. Her heartbeat thudded in her ears. The whisper now came from beside her. "Can I sleep with you tonight?" Anna screamed and bolted from the room. When she returned at dawn with a flashlight, she found small handprints in the dust under the bed. And a single tiny tooth. Weeks later, when she called the local police, they told her the truth. A boy had vanished in that farmhouse 30 years ago. His name, Eli, her uncle. And the last words he ever said to his mother were, "Can I sleep with you tonight?" Candle Story 2. The Mirror That Remembers. Claire loved antique mirrors. When she found one at a yard sale, tall, golden, Victorian, she couldn't resist. The seller was eager to get rid of it. "Just don't look too long," he said, half joking. That night, Claire placed it in her bedroom. It shimmered oddly, as if something moved behind the glass. Days passed. She began noticing things. When she combed her hair, her reflection lagged, a split-second delay. When she smiled, it didn't. One night, she caught her reflection breathing while she stood perfectly still. Terrified, she draped the mirror with a sheet. But at 3 a.m., she woke to a sound, the rustle of fabric. The sheet had fallen. Her reflection was uncovered. And it was smiling. Claire lifted her phone to record. But when she looked through the camera, the reflection wasn't her at all. It was an old woman, eyes sunken, skin gray, whispering her name. Then the glass cracked from inside. The next morning the mirror was empty. No reflection. No Claire. Only a faint handprint on the inside of the glass. Mantelpiece Clock Story 3. The clock that ticked backward. Evan bought an antique clock at a thrift store. Black wood, silver hands, elegant. But at night the clock ticked backward. He thought it was broken. Until he noticed that every time it ticked backward, the house grew colder. Then came the visions. When the clock struck midnight, shadows appeared in the corners. Silhouettes of people, frozen in pain. One night the clock struck 13. Evan woke up gasping. His hands were covered in soot. The next day he learned something horrifying. The clock was salvaged from a house that burned down 50 years ago. A fire that killed a family of 4. That night, the clock began ticking faster. Backwards. Faster and faster until it stopped. At the exact time of the fire. Smoke filled his room. Flames danced in the glass. And he saw them, the family, staring at him from within the clock's face. One of them reached out and whispered, "Welcome home." Story 4. The Thing in the Static. Late-night radio was Ryan's escape. He loved the static hum, the late callers, the lonely voices. One night, he found a station he'd never heard before. No music, just whispering. He leaned closer. The whispers said his name. He laughed nervously. "Who's this?" Static. Then softly, "Look outside." He hesitated. It was 2 a.m. But he did. There was a figure standing across the street. Tall, still, facing his window. He turned back to the radio. The whisper now said, "Closer." The figure was at the gate. Static again. Then in his ear, "Behind you." Ryan turned and saw the figure inside his room, smiling through the radio's reflection. They found his body 3 days later. The radio was still on, whispering one word over and over. "Closer."